Once upon a time, in a faraway land, lived a kind and beautiful girl named Cinderella. Her life was peaceful and happy until her mother passed away. Her father remarried a proud and wicked woman who had two daughters of her own, Anastasia and Drusilla. They were just as selfish and cruel as their mother. When Cinderella's father also died, her stepmother's true nature was revealed. She was terribly jealous of Cinderella's charm and beauty, so she forced the poor girl to become a servant in her own home. From dawn until dusk, Cinderella worked tirelessly, cleaning, cooking, and mending clothes for her cruel stepfamily. They mockingly called her Cinderella because she was often covered in cinders from cleaning the fireplace. Despite the hardship, Cinderella remained gentle and kind, dreaming of a happier life. Her only friends were the little mice and birds who lived in and around the old chateau. One day, great excitement swept through the kingdom. A royal messenger arrived with an invitation for every eligible maiden in the land. The king was holding a grand ball in honor of his son, the prince, who was seeking a wife. Every young woman was invited to attend. Anastasia and Drusilla were ecstatic. They ordered Cinderella to prepare their finest gowns and accessories. Cinderella, with a hopeful heart, asked her stepmother, "May I go to the ball too?" Her stepmother sneered, "You, in those rags? You can go, if you finish all your chores and find something suitable to wear." Hopeful, Cinderella worked faster than ever before. While her stepsisters prepared, her little mice friends secretly helped her. They found an old gown that belonged to her mother and, with ribbons and beads discarded by the stepsisters, they transformed it into a beautiful dress. When Cinderella came downstairs in her lovely gown, her stepfamily was stunned. But their shock quickly turned to rage. "How dare you!" shrieked the stepmother. Anastasia and Drusilla, in a fit of jealousy, tore her dress and ripped off her beads, leaving her in tattered rags. They left for the ball, laughing cruelly, leaving Cinderella alone and heartbroken in the garden. Sobbing, Cinderella thought all hope was lost. Suddenly, a gentle light appeared, and a kind-faced woman with a magic wand stood before her. "Don't cry, my child," she said warmly. "I am your fairy godmother." With a flick of her wand, she turned a pumpkin into a magnificent golden carriage. The mice became majestic white horses, an old horse became a coachman, and a dog became a footman. Then, she waved her wand over Cinderella. Her rags transformed into a breathtaking blue ball gown, and on her feet appeared a pair of delicate glass slippers. "This is wonderful!" Cinderella exclaimed. But remember, her fairy godmother warned, the magic will only last until midnight. At the stroke of 12, everything will turn back to what it was. Cinderella promised to remember, thanked her, and hurried off to the ball. When Cinderella entered the palace, everyone was mesmerized by her beauty and grace. The prince himself was instantly captivated. He asked her to dance, and they danced the entire evening, falling deeply in love. Cinderella was so happy she completely forgot her fairy godmother's warning. Suddenly, the clock began to chime. "Dawn, dawn, dawn, midnight! Oh, I must go!" she cried and fled from the ballroom. In her haste, one of her glass slippers fell off on the grand staircase. The prince picked it up, vowing to find the mysterious maiden who had stolen his heart. The next day, The prince and the Grand Duke began a search across the entire kingdom. They would have every maiden try on the glass slipper. When they arrived at Cinderella's home, the stepsisters tried desperately to force their large feet into the tiny slipper, but it was no use. The stepmother, realizing Cinderella was a girl from the ball, locked her in the attic. But Cinderella's brave mice friends found the key and freed her just as the Duke was about to leave. "Please, may I try?" Cinderella asked softly. The stepmother tripped the footman, and the glass slipper shattered on the floor. But Cinderella smiled and said, "It's all right. I have the other one." She pulled a matching slipper from her pocket. It fit her foot perfectly. Cinderella and the prince were soon married in a grand celebration. Her kindness and courage had won her a life of happiness, and they lived happily ever after. Remember to like this video and subscribe for more classic fairy tales. Thanks for watching.